Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we've got more play-up props here for you guys on Tuesday with a pretty small slate before we get to the big Wednesday slate of games in the NBA tomorrow. We do have best bets up for you as we do each and every weekday alongside these play-up props, so go ahead and like and subscribe to that page so you can check each of those out each and every weekday. Also want you to head to thelines.com. We are just slanging content up on the site right now, and we have that odds finder tool up there that Nate and I are using to go ahead and shop these lines. Make sure you're getting the best juice available to you for all these props that are available in the NBA this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into your first NBA play-up prop. We're targeting a couple of games here because we actually know who's playing in this Raptors-Lakers game, and we have some decent props that we can look at. So let's jump right into that one.
Yeah, Emmanuel quickly over 22.5 points and assists. It's good odds here. I love the fact that the Warriors held him to just 10 field goal attempts, low scoring output, and now you get this in another comfortable place. Was able to get him against the Kings on Friday, and he got it late. Kind of struggled a little bit scoring the ball, but the ball's just in his hands so much, and the Raptors are totally fine with him finding his stride. There's no adjustment period. It's just like, yeah, here's the keys to the offense. Like, we've been missing somebody who can create a shot in the half court, and IQ can do that. He's clearly allowed to just take step back threes, pull whatever, and run the offense. He still had 10 assists against the Dubs, who limit assists. And, he's averaging 16 potential assists per game with these Raptors in 4 games. And they've played faster with him. 101 pace overall. You said 103 pace when he's on the floor. The Lakers have been bad guarding the three-point line in their last 4. 44% opponents are shooting. Also allowing 29 assists per game. And also allowing 25.5 points and 10 assists to point guards in their last 15. I don't trust their point guard defense, their defense at the point of attack at all. I love an athletic guard like Quickly to attack D'Angelo Russell, Reeves, whoever else. With Jakob Poeltl out, Rui Hachimura out, this is just a better scoring environment than we're used to seeing when the Raptors come to town. And Quickly is the main reason for that.
For sure, man. It's awesome that his name is Quickly. Just dude, super spazzy, quick twitch, right? A fast twitch player, and he's the exact prototype of guy that'll give the Lakers trouble, which we've targeted this season a number of times. And I believe D'Lo is out, which actually helps, but I believe so is Gabe Vincent. So it's like that would have been a pretty solid point of attack. Oh no, D'Lo's in. How wonderful for our overs and for Emmanuel Quickly to score. This is just everything's turning up Josh and Nate today for sure. So I'm with the Quickly bet 100%. Let me talk about his counterpart for my first best bet, which is Scotty Barnes, who's going to go under, I believe, on the rebounds and assists. And I freaking loved this bet before I went right to injury report and was like, oh, crap, Poeltl's out. So that means there are some more rebounds available for Scotty Barnes. But all of that said, I'm still sticking with this bet at under 14.5 rebounds and assists. The assists are 5.5. The rebounds are 8.5. I bet the rebounds would be juiced a little bit worse for us if Poeltl was in. So we're getting a little bit of value on about minus 104 for him to go under this number, right? Because they are up a little bit higher. 14.5 rebounds and assists. I'm going to combine the two. I agree that one of the assists are a little bit less scary. It's just a lower number. So that's why I'm going back to both of them. All of that said, the point guard role isn't really there for him anymore. And that's what I've been sort of harping on as we've talked about this Lakers and Raptors game, is that in the 4 games since IQ and even to a degree RJ Barrett are there, because RJ Barrett's someone that you trust to drive and score on his own more than OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby's offensive game is I'm a good spot up shooter. RJ Barrett's offensive game is if I have a mismatch, I can barrel to the lane and I don't really catch and shoot. So I don't really score off of assists anyway, right? And so that's why you see the Knicks now getting more dimes and more spacing because they've got OG out there. RJ's not the dude to be doing that. So with that in mind, that takes a little bit of the assists away. He's at 8 potential assists in the last 4 games per game with about 5.5 assists per game. So we're right at the assist number. The rebounds aren't even close. He's got 8 rebound chances per game in the last 4. Once again, Jakob Poeltl's out there. I will say, though, Jakob Poeltl, when he's out there, the rebound percentage for the team as a whole gets higher, but he's not grabbing the highest percentage of his rebound chances, right? Like Jakob Poeltl, it's what I always talk about, is boxing out. Guys like Scotty Barnes are able to get in there. Pascal Siakam, also a better boxing boxer outer than Scotty Barnes is, and that's why you like you see him getting so many rebound chances as well, but maybe fewer rebound chance percentage. For Scotty, like the rebounds against this team, I can't see it with both AD and LeBron in there. When he's gotten this before, Scotty Barnes against this team, either AD or LeBron were not playing when he faced this team, or both of them weren't playing in one of those games as well. So that's why the inflated numbers for Scotty Barnes versus this team. I kind of like the fact that he's done that in the past, because that he hasn't played this iteration of the Lakers in the past. Even the last game that he played against them didn't have the same. Was before the trade where they got D'Lo and a couple other guys like Rui, obviously, and Vanderbilt, etc. Those guys being out there are much better Scotty Barnes stoppers than the likes of who was on this team the last time that he was playing this squad. So the potential assist so low is wild, right? But the rebound chances at 8 when he's supposed to get 8.5, he's only averaged 3.5 over the last 4 games as well. All this stuff isn't there for him because I don't think that he's figured out exactly how he's supposed to fit within this, when it was very clear that, like, unless Dennis Schroeder is on the court, Scotty's always bringing the ball up. And even when Dennis Schroeder brings the ball up, the offense isn't really running through him. He's passing and moving over to the wing. And now Scotty's taking the top of the key. And it's just not the case anymore. With Quickly having the ball in his hands the whole time, his potential assists, as well as everybody I spoke about, Pascal's, have gone up. And Scotty Barnes, everything has just gone down. So I still think they'll find a way to have Scotty impact games for sure. But I do think that he's more likely to be taking some shots tonight rather than trying to facilitate offense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the correlation here between Quickly's assists going up, Barnes going down, we're both on the same page there. I mean, Pirtle being out makes me scared of the rebounds, and I know Middleton got under for you last night because he went under on the rebounds, not the assists, but I don't know if you want to stick with this. I think maybe you want to add the points or go points and assists for the under for Barnes, just because AD is going to be on him a lot. But on the defensive end, like he's gonna have to rebound like a center. Like I don't care what he's listed at or what he's playing on offense. Like he's their most physical guy. If you have Boucher and Siakam in the front court with him, he's the one who's gonna have to get down there and fill the void with Pirtle missing his first game of the season. So we'll see if he can do it. Tall task for sure. Speaking of filling the void, Jaden Ivey, I'll go over 8.5 assist rebounds with Cade Cunningham missing his first game of the season. You get nice juice on the over here for Ivey. I still don't really trust him to score. His points prop is 16.5. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, he's going to step in and score for Cade. I think maybe that's more Bojan. Even though, Ivey is averaging 16 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists in his last 10. The minutes, again, this is what scares Josh off it, under 29 minutes per game. But his usage rate is the second highest on the team in that span, 24%. And Cade, obviously, with the highest usage, was averaging 24, 5 rebounds, 8 assists at home. We don't expect Ivey to replicate those numbers by any means, but he is stepping into the point guard role where we saw last year him put up really good, well-rounded peripheral stats when he was doing that, because Cade missed the entire season. And I think his minutes have to rise here. Monty might be weird about it, but like not in this spot, right? When you're missing Cade Cunningham, and when you're facing this Kings team where you have an athletic point guard who can get some numbers. Kings allow the most rebounds per game to point guards. In fact, 7 rebounds per game, 9.3 assists per game, and overall allowing the third highest assist to field goal ratio in their last 3. So I'll take Ivy to get some peripheral stats here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the points, to be honest. If you do look at the points, he went over this pretty consistently when Cade missed last season and he was in. And I know Cade missed like all of last season, but I still think that's pretty indicative of what you can expect tonight. The tough thing is trying to find his minutes, right? Like, I'm so fed up with Monty Williams as a bettor, and obviously as a basketball fan because this team is terrible, but more importantly as a bettor, like it's just there's a couple lineups where you only know 1 or 2 guys are for sure going to be playing. We've talked about it before. It's Bogdan on the Bojan on the Pistons. I always mess them up. And then it's Cade. And so with Ivy out there, you hope that he's getting those minutes because their best player isn't available and he's their probably second best backcourt player, right? At least he should be. So we'll see. I hope the minutes are there for him. They should be. It's just that Monty terrifies me, like we've talked about. But I'm gonna go on a bet. I apologize. I honestly didn't even see that in best bets you took Paolo as a part of a really solid same game parlay with Paolo to go under his points and the Minnesota Timberwolves to beat the Magic. I'm gonna take Paolo points and assists under. And by the way, I took Paolo 25, 5 and 5 in his last game against Atlanta. He had 4 assists on 12 potential assists. So that's also what I'm looking at here. That Magic team couldn't put together a solid field goal or shooting splits against the Hawks at home. I'm not feeling very good about their ability to score outside of Paolo right now at all without Franz Wagner on the floor. So that's why I'm taking the points and assists under for him. The rebounds, I'll leave alone. We have Wendell Carter Jr. not on the floor again. The only other rebounder really on this team is going to be Jonathan Isaac is out as well, by the way. It's going to be Goga Batadze. And Goga probably will get the 30 minutes or so he's been playing, but there's just 2 rebounders on the floor down low for them at that point, and Paolo is going to be that guy. So I'm leaving the rebounds out of this, but the 27.5 points is still high against Minnesota, man, for a good player like Paolo, who just look. I'm whatever you want to do with that Denver game that they won, on the road, like go for it. They play Denver really well and have been in terms of the Magic. Then you come back against the Hawks. He doesn't get this until he gets to overtime and scores about 7 points in 8 points in overtime to get him over this points and assists number, right? So it's not something that I see happening without guys around him that can shoot at all. That's a huge problem. The Minnesota defense here is tailor-made for stopping a guy like Paolo, who shoots 37% of his shots from inside of 10 feet. So he's always going to the basket. He's attacking. So is Franz as well. But that's this Magic MO, and that ain't going to happen against the best defensive team down low. With Mitch Rob not playing anymore, Rudy Gobert is making a case for Defensive Player of the Year for sure. Certainly all-team first defensive team now with Mitch Rob off most likely. So that's why they're limiting power forwards to the second fewest points per game, the second fewest rebounds per game. They don't get assists second fewest assists per game. The rebounds they get a little bit more, because as good as Cat has been in the past at rebounding, and Rudy is very good at rebounding, still a position that they've struggled with in terms of allowing boards a bit more this season. So that's why that's part of the reason we're sticking to the points and assists. And I just expect a much slower game. Orlando's been playing much slower and choppier at home after they put up like 140 points a game there for a few games in a row against some bad defenses. Even against Atlanta, having 105 points at the end of regulation was like bananas, right, for that team, even without Franz Wagner. So I think that's who we're going to continue to see. Minnesota's been playing slower and choppier on the road, averaging about 225 totals when they're away from home. And I mentioned this Orlando team in their last 6 home games or so. They've also just only been scoring 109, allowing 105. So probably slow and choppy tonight with Orlando and Minnesota.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened in that Denver game. It was a back-to-back after Jokic hit a half-court buzzer beater. And then we knew to fade the Nuggets, giving 8.5 or more, and turns out Magic won outright. Paolo was incredible.
That's right.
But yeah, he's not going to be incredible in this matchup against a Wolves team that's taken some bad beats that I mentioned, has played a ridiculously hard schedule, and is now in a bounce-back spot. Against this Orlando team that's shorthanded, no Franz, and too much focus on Paolo, and I don't think he's going to be able to score on the interior, just like you said.
Yep, for sure. We're both riding the Paolo under tonight. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Go ahead and like and subscribe to that page so you can continue to follow along all season. We also have best bets up alongside these player props each and every weekday. So until we see you next, happy betting.